Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Product Development Competition finalist presentations and Q&A. My name is Marissa Stubbs, and I'm serving as the current Product Development Competition Chair. This year, we've opted for a dual experience with part of the competition being held virtual and part being in person. I'd like to thank the rest of the committee for their help organizing the 2022 competition, as well as a thank you to our judges. We appreciate you volunteering your time and expertise as we navigate new ways of hosting the competition. This year's theme was Functional Fiber for Health. The teams had to create an innovative bakery item focusing on a fiber source with documented health benefits. The chosen innovative fiber source was used to achieve 6 grams of fiber per serving. We have 3 teams joining us in the finals, with each team having a video of their own presentation and Q&A session with the judges. Alongside these videos, each team will have a booth at Marketplace, so please stop by and ask any additional questions about their products, processes, or simply to introduce yourself. We will be hosting the award ceremony on Thursday, March 3rd at 2 p.m., where the winners will be announced and scholarships presented. We are also searching for volunteers to join the committee, judge the competition, or company sponsors to support the travel and scholarships for these students. Please find myself or Kent Van Amberg if you or your company would be interested in supporting the competition. Lastly, one final thank you to the committee, judges, and ASB. Now let's hear these final presentations. Our first team to present will be from California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Hi, we're Team Swirls and we're from Cal Poly Pomona. I'm Angel Go, the team leader.
I'm Marisela Robles, I'm in charge of marketing.
And I'm Julia Duddles, and I'm in charge of formulation.
And we're all food science and technology seniors at Cal Poly Pomona. So this year's theme for the product development competition is Functional Fiber for Health. On average, Americans consume 10 to 15 grams of fiber, which makes up roughly half of the daily recommended value. With that in mind, more consumers try to increase their intake with fiber-fortified products or consume more whole grains as it is a common fiber source. Our product, Swirls, utilizes 2 innovative fiber sources to provide an excellent source of fiber in just 1 serving.
So what are Swirls? Swirls are a mini sweet guava and nopales jam-filled roll that are topped with a guava drizzle. They can be enjoyed for breakfast or even as a snack. We notice that there's an increase in consumers wanting to explore more international flavors and have environmentally friendly products. So, Swirls highlights international ingredients of nopales and guava, as well as an upcycled ingredient of okara flour. They are great for those looking for an excellent source of dietary fiber and vitamin C. Just 1 serving of Swirls has 21% of your daily value in dietary fiber and 45% of your daily value in vitamin C.
So how do we get 6 grams of fiber in Swirls? Our 2 innovative fiber ingredients are nopales powder and okara flour. Nopales powder is made from the pads of prickly pear cacti that are native to Mexico. They are sustainable ingredients since they are drought tolerant and have been found to help diabetes and regulate cholesterol levels. Okara flour is made from the waste of soy milk production, which in Singapore makes up about 10,000 tons of waste every year. Guava is our main flavor in our jam that provides our vitamin C content and has also been found to help regulate blood pressure. With these ingredients, we were able to achieve a baked product that is tasty, high in fiber, and is beneficial to your health. The nopales powder can be found both in the bread and the jam, while the okara flour can be found in the bread.
Swirls has a serving size of 55 grams, which consists of 2 mini rolls, but it is intended to sell in boxes with 6 servings. Other important ingredients to note besides the ones stated before are the bread flour and xanthan gum, which help with gluten development and texture since okara flour is gluten-free. We use calcium propionate as a preservative in both the jam and the bread, since it does not affect the yeast in our dough, and it inhibits the growth of any spoilage bacteria or molds. We use low methoxyl pectin in order to thicken our jam and have it be able to spread on the dough.
Here's our process flow chart. There are two main lines to make up swirls. The dough is in orange, the jam is in teal, as well as a minor line of the guava drizzle in pink. The dough is done through a typical bread process. There's a first proof step in the beginning while the jam is mixed, heated, and cooled. The dough is then thinly rolled after the first proof and the jam is spread. Rolls are then formed and cut for the second proof prior to baking. Once the main rolls are cooled after baking, they are topped with our guava drizzle. During production, our facility will safely produce up swirls by ensuring we implement GMPs, SSOPs in accordance with 21 CFR 110, and implementing a HACCP system in accordance to 21 CFR 120, with 4 critical control points of receiving and inspecting ingredients, especially for those used in the drizzle, since there is no kill step. Baking, metal detection, and packaging are the other 3 critical control points.
Each serving of up swirls will be bagged in polypropylene with modified atmosphere, which will be a mixture of carbon dioxide and nitrogen gas, in order to ensure the quality and safety of up swirls. The individual packaging ensures that each serving will not be compromised, so our consumers can taste the best quality. The picture posted is a mock-up of our proposed secondary packaging, which will be made up of recyclable paperboard, which will contain 6 servings for a total of 12 rolls.
There's nothing like up swirls, especially with the combination of unique ingredients. Here are some comparable products like mini cinnamon rolls, vegan mini muffins, and fig bars. With similar serving sizes, they do not stand up to the nutritional value of up swirls. In our sensory analysis, many panelists expressed their interest in having a product with high fiber but lower sugar content. Up swirls are an excellent source of fiber. They are half the calories and lower in total sugars compared to the other 3 products. With that in consideration, we priced our box of up swirls at $5.25.
Almost the entire US population consumes bread. 190 million people that make up 58% of the consumers eat whole wheat or multigrain breads, which are often high in fiber. We'd ideally start sales in California, which has 13 million households, and with an initial target market of 1% of the Californians that we can assume buy high fiber products, it would be 75,400 consumers. And with 1 box per month per consumer, we would need to distribute more than 75,000 boxes per month. With capital costs of equipment and facilities on the low end, which would roughly total $135,000, we can predict profit will come in within the first few months.
Up swirls are a breakfast item, but they can also be considered as a dessert due to the sweet filling. We can see through this graph that Gen Z and millennials want more new innovation with both breakfast foods and desserts, which makes them the ideal target market for up swirls. With a sensory test, up swirls had a great overall liking of 7.44 on a 9-point hedonic scale. Our sensory demographics were within the age group of our target consumers of Gen Z and millennials. Our box of up swirls would be suggested to be sold for $5.25. They would be sold at easily accessible grocery stores like Target and Walmart. We would love to share up swirls through social media to accommodate our Gen Z and millennial target group. Social media allows for easy access to analytical data.
Line extensions will provide growth opportunities for up swirls. Keeping with emphasizing international ingredients, there are endless options to explore. We can have jam fillings made with ube or taro, which are native to Southeast Asia and will add a slightly nutty and vanilla flavor. We could even add persimmons, which are native to China, and they will provide a honey-like flavor. And also mangoes, which are native to India and will add a tropical citrus flavor to the up swirls filling. We hope to see a fiber-rich product such as Swirls on the shelves soon. We think this is an untapped market. Thank you for listening, and we want to thank our school, Cal Poly Pomona, and the following for all their support.
So what are the functional properties of the nopales and okara flowers that you're seeing in your application?
So I can go ahead and talk about the nopales, or the cactus, might be easier to say. Cactus is high in antioxidants. We found through some research that it helps regulate blood sugar levels, so it's good for diabetics. It's overall kind of what they call like a superfood, for marketing purposes. And if somebody wants to touch on the okara.
So yeah, both the nopales and the okara are for the fiber source. I think like in our initial idea, we really wanted to use the nopales in some sort of way, and we found that nopales powder just is jam-packed with fiber. And then along with that, we remembered that we used, I think we were sponsored a long time ago by Renewal Mills, and we remembered that okara flower is also high in fiber, so we thought it would be great to use.
Were there any functional in terms of outside of the health benefits, water holding or emulsifying or any of that type of functionality? Did you observe any of that with those fibers, or were they mainly hard to work with where you had to get it in there, but
the second one?
Okay. So
Yeah.
So what kinds of things were you seeing when you added the fiber?
It became very dry. Our dough became very dry and crumbly. And so when we would roll it out, it wouldn't stay in its form. So I believe I forgot what we did. We added more.
We added more bread flour to okara ratio because we did want to jam pack it with the okara, especially just because it's like such a cool ingredient. But we had to lower it to increase the bread protein, and then we ended up adding xanthan gum to bring it together more, which helped a lot with rising. And then with the nopales powder, we did use a lot of the nopales powder, so that did make it dry, which is the reason why we went with a jam to offset the dryness of the bread. And then
To go further along with the jam, the nopales powder did make it a little bit more, it did absorb most of like the water content in the jam, but luckily we were able to mix it up with the other ingredients inside the jam to make it work with it. So for me personally, for us personally, the jam didn't have that much of a trouble as it did with the bread.
How do those ingredients taste on their own, like the okara flour? I was just wondering if some of these taste kind of bitter or by themselves.
I think the nopales tastes and smells like matcha. That's what we observed a lot whenever we would like use it.
It kind of has a mild flavor, I would say. It didn't like totally like overpower any of our flavors that we added.
It's definitely different. Nothing I've tried before. And then some people that would try are just the bread itself. Like they'd be like, "What is that?" They don't know. Like, yeah, it's a new thing that they're trying. And then I don't think I tried the okara just by itself. But did you guys try it?
No,
Yeah.
I don't
No, but I don't think it like changed the flavor of the bread as much as the cactus did.
I had a question about the product shelf life. So was there any reason why you picked calcium propionate, or did you try others before you settled in on that one?
Yeah, so calcium propionic, that one actually mixed well with the yeast in the bread. We did try ascorbic acid and it gave us like a weird like bitter taste. So then we tried the calcium propionic for that reason.
Yeah,
Yes,
and then
it
we go ahead, Julia.
It didn't affect the yeast rise in our bread, which was really important to us. And we were able to use it in both the bread part and the jam part, which is cost effective as well for our product.
So when I received the samples, unfortunately, the drizzle did not hold up super well in distribution. So what are your ideas on how you could alter the formula of the drizzle to help it be more stable in shipping?
So the icing drizzle was developed probably the last thing in formulation wise. We initially, it was powdered sugar and guava. And we noticed that it didn't held up at all over time. So we added the meringue powder to hopefully help with stability. But yeah, it still probably needs some more work on it. But I would say we could add, I think I noticed in other icings, like agar-agar or carrageenan to make it the mixture more homogeneous and gel on the bread better.
Yeah, so when we, like she said, we were doing that in the later stage because we did find that once we used the guava jam, it still wasn't to the liking of our participants. So we ended up just doing a slight guava drizzle. So we could probably just use just a regular royal icing that usually does harden up, but we did want to make sure that we kept with the guava flavor. So we ended up substituting the water in the royal icing with our guava pulp, which was probably the reason why it still didn't hold up.
I'm sure Brittany had a chance to ask a question before I go in again.
You're good. You can go ahead.
Okay. I guess it's probably an overall question that we always like to ask is what other challenges did you encounter in producing product or deciding the other parts of it, like marketing and going to market? What are some challenges that you encountered and how did you overcome those?
So I can go first. So the first hesitation that we had was actually using real cactus for the fiber. We actually used blended it and did everything for the jam, and the taste wasn't good at all. Like it wasn't the best, but it wasn't as sweet. And we kept increasing sugar in it, which ended up lowering the fiber content. So then literally last minute, we ended up changing it to guava flavor because guava naturally is a lot sweeter. And so we ended up overcoming that situation with the guava. And then we ended up enhancing it a little bit more with other like flavors such as the beet powder for the color. And then it ended up helping us with the content. So that was a big issue that we ended up changing very last minute, and thankfully it worked out.
Yeah, so another challenge, I think we already touched up on it, was that it didn't hold up very well with so much of because we used so much of the nopales and the okara, that we ended up having to use like a bit more butter than we thought we would, which is why our product isn't a low fat product, but that's okay because bread products shouldn't be low fat. And then at the same time, we did work on forming it as a babka in the beginning process, which was a mess. So we ended up turning it into a roll, and then even then with the roll, we ended up having to buy our own like rolling pin just for evenness because we didn't have like a sheeter or anything like that. So uniformity throughout the whole process, especially when you're rolling it, because the jam just gets to move everywhere it wants to. And then like sometimes when you're rolling too much, it's not tight enough of a roll. So uniformity was an issue. Julia, do you have anything else?
Of course, fiber was hard to reach, our fiber goal. So like we said, we kept increasing. And so by adding the cactus powder in both the bread and the jam, increased our fiber. Yeah, that's about what I can think of right now.
Oh, and the drizzle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the marketing section, you had mentioned that the capital cost would come to about $135,000. How did you get to that number? What did that include?
So I just added up a bunch of like the possible equipments, the big ones too that had the high capacity and like high power, especially because since if we were to go on a bigger scale, our dough would probably be pretty hard to work with. So I just added up like the sheeter, the proofer, just big ticket items that we would most likely end up using on a big scale. And then that plus just an estimate on like facility price. Equipment's pretty expensive. I didn't think of it too. Just in general, even like just sheets, just pans of sheets. I was like, wow.
You know how much throughput or production you would have gotten with the equipment that you outlined, or what size were you targeting for your growth maybe?
So when I was doing like calculations, we would have to make like, let me see, about, where is it?
I think you initially
We would have to make
targeted
like
California only, I think is what
so
yeah.
it was based on the numbers for the California population and the 1% target. And then with those numbers, I believe it was supposed to be like something per month, I think 75,000 per month. So then per hour, we would have to make 3,900 buns. And from there, I just kept calculating and calculating and calculating. But I think the bigger sizes that I was looking at would hold about, I think 110 pounds per unit or per every time you would make dough. But I wasn't able to calculate an exact amount of like how many buns we'd be able to make.
Fun. I was just curious. Thank you.
That would have been extra credit. So